This is just a mic check for the new joiners. I'm just getting the live stream going. All right, so there's the stream. And create post. There it is. Why are you running so slow? Okay. What are we at? 35? We are. I think we've got the live stream going. We've got the Facebook updated. We got the people who are supposed to be talking here. So that's good. Linda isn't here yet, but I'm sure she will be. Here comes Michelle. All right. Okay, so hi folks, welcome to May, final PTO of this particular school year. But my hopes are we'll still have some activity over the summer as there's some work to do, and then we'll be in a really good spot for next school year. So why don't we just do a quick round robin of introductions? I think there's, well, actually everyone here knows everyone. I'm not sure who Lauren?
Oh, hi. Yep, I'm a kindergarten parent, and I've been to these before.
Okay, great. All right, kindergarten parent, great. And then Christine, hi. You're one of the teachers that has a funding request. Yep.
That's true.
Great. Thank you for being here. So we'll take care of that stuff early in today's discussion. Sue's here for a couple of other items, and I'm not sure if Catherine, the other requester, first her name escapes me now, but maybe she'll still join.
Paul, it's Katie Weber, and I told her I could be here in case she couldn't. So
Okay.
I know about her request.
Okay, sounds good. Well, why don't we just jump into this then, rather than having to go through intros, because we're all pretty friendly, even though we rarely see each other for real these days. Let me find my slide deck. And let me share my screen. Okay, so here we are. Let me get rid of that. I'm not going to see anybody's faces for a little bit. Here's tonight's agenda. And slow it up. So number one out of the way, we're on a roll. Jason is going to give us the treasurer's update, and then we're going to talk about some funding requests as well as discuss PTO paying for the memory book project, and we can talk a little bit about the memory book project. It's rocking and rolling. I want to just say outright thanks to everyone who's on it and to the drivers of it, and we'll call them out when we get to that. The principal's update is here, and thank you, Diego, for putting in that slide. There is going to be just a quick change, as Linda mentioned that the welcome package was actually an idea that you had, Diego. I've combined the welcome package discussion with the year-end event discussion because in both cases, what it really the importance to us is how can PTO help. So it's a how can PTO help slide on those two things. I'm hoping to talk about outreach opportunities to the new families. And then we are going to talk about PTO officer elections. This was an idea from last year that never got anywhere because of COVID. Because I think normally elections are all held at the beginning of the year rather than splitting them. So we've got to just have a good open discussion about this idea if that works for folks. This little bit information on NPS. This really is that item number 7 is really just meant to talk about something that's out in the ether. It's out on the internets, on the interwebs. And I just wanted to call attention to it so that parents that wanted to be active and give input, they kind of knew about it. They heard about it. This will be on our recording. It'll be on our Facebook. So it was really just an informational thing. I don't think there's too much discussion unless Diego has some like inside baseball knowledge about the $261 million. And then we've got other business. So having said that, any questions about the agenda or should we move along? Any additions to the agenda? And let me just bring back my camera. All right, so let's move along then. So I'm just going to click next for you, Jason. I'm going to turn off this pod so that everyone can see the slide deck. But go ahead, you have the floor.
All right. Thank you. Can you turn that down, Mandy? Big echo.
His booming voice carries across the city.
Yep. Thank you. Sorry. Shut the door, see if that helps. So yeah, we largely ended up the school year pending any requests today, about $5,000 less than we had at the end of last school year. Our current cash on hand is sitting at about $66,000. There's $30,000 in the PTO checking account and about $35,000 in the savings account. The savings account has just accrued interest since at least 2015, the 2015-2016 school year. It's no, there's been no other deductions or deposits into it, so it's just been an account accruing dollars. So if you go to the next slide, V. Paul. I guess this kind of shows the same thing, just over time, how we've ended the years, the net change and whether it's grown or fallen. And you can see this past year has really been no exception. It's kind of right in the same range. And really the ending balance is about the same range of the last 3 years, give or take just a little bit. And then if you go to the next slide, we can get in a little bit of detail that I think is interesting. So this was the how the where the dollars went and how the dollars came in. You can see we spent about $20,000 and got about $14,000. The bulk of that $14,000 is a $10,000 kind of recurring donation, earmarked specifically for field trips. But I made these accounts up, so feel free to ask questions about them. But the student experience account, I sort of labeled that, or I grouped some things in there. That includes $3,700 for the headphones replenishment, about $5,000 for school spirit wear, i.e. shirts. There was a second grade Ojibwe shoulder bags that we recently funded, and then some books for the media center at the beginning part of the school year. Distance learning dollars were made up of historically, the Challenge Reading Book Club has used books from the libraries, but this year, because of the challenges with that, we purchased books. So $1,500 roughly was purchasing the books for the students. That allowed them to continue with that program, as well as kind of give nice keep books for the students to keep. We spent about $2,300 on masks, both for students and teachers. And then we spent about $1,600 on postage. So all that's kind of under distance learning. The field trips were virtual field trips. I think we had 5 specific things, but that might have covered about 9 or 10 classes, if I'm remembering correctly. Those include Gibbs Farm. I put the Wing Young Huey photography workshop as a virtual field trip. The Stages Theater, Gale Woods Farm, and then the Bakken Museum as well. Blank has been cleared up mostly. That was some outstanding questions I had. So since I posted the slide, those have funneled into other accounts. Teacher appreciation, which included coffee a couple times, $5 gift cards for Sister Sludge, as well as pastries recently. And I don't think anything else is too meaningful. And their communications included the mailers, as well as the about $16 a month we pay for Zoom to support the PTO meetings. There was a check that got cashed that was over a year old, which was, I spent a lot of time playing with that until I figured out it was dated 2020. She's upstairs. Can you go upstairs, please? And then you can see the sources of, there are some checks when I took over treasurer last fall in the mailbox that I think were from readathon, or I can't quite remember the details on that. And then various other things for fundraising include Amazon. We get some credits through Amazon. We also get the box tops for education, which has amounted to, I think, about $50-ish perhaps. And then there's, through December of last year, we were getting a monthly, actually every 2 weeks, we were getting some money from Mighty Cause Foundation, which I don't have a lot of details on that, but that was about almost $3,300 for fundraising as well. So I'm not sure on that. That has since dried up. We haven't gotten any credits to the account in 2021, but that was going on. If there's any information and we've let something lapse that anyone has that we can, figure out how to get that restarted for the next school year. Certainly the more dollars, the better to fund future field trips and events. I did not include any of the pending stuff because I didn't have the specifics on that, but once we have the approvals on those, I'll add them in and we can update the slides for the final posting here for the year-end update. Are there any questions on any of that?
I'm gonna bring back the screen just so I could see folks. Sorry for the big block that's now appearing. I do have a couple of questions. One question, just to clear up, and this is maybe more for me than for others that are more in the know than I am, but the recurring $10,000 field trip field trip funds that we receive from the Masons, and so we've only spent 56, so that just rolls over. In your previous slide when you mentioned that total checking 30, that's broken up into that account. The account is really divided in two parts, right? There's the part that is field trips earmarked. Is it separated, like actually in two separate accounts, or it's in really just one pot? So we just got to manage. Go ahead, Kimberly.
Paul, this is Kimberly. Sorry, I'm not on. I'm driving. Sorry, but I just wanted to. There's a savings account and a checking account, and I'm not really sure. Alicia,
you're breaking up.
She or Nicole, they would know the history of that.
Yeah. You're breaking up, Nicole, but the gist that I'm getting from you is that Nicole and Alicia will have the background on it.
There is, I think.
Okay.
I couldn't see. I have access to the bank accounts, and I couldn't see going back all the way to 2015 that there was anything other than a few dollars interest every month on that account. Nothing's been withdrawn or deposited, so everything sort of lives within the checking account, and then it's just all how it gets coded in the ledger. That
all good, all good. I mean, this is why I'm not the treasurer, but I only bring it up to state that we understand, or the field trip fund is just really a disbursement fund. It's pretty much, if there's a field trip, money will go out, and we just manage a process for it. Mm-hmm. But everything else is an approval type, and it looks like we're nowhere near overspending what we need, so we're not accidentally dipping into a fund and spending monies we shouldn't be spending. That's the gist I'm getting from what you've sort of reported. Would that be a fair statement, Jason?
Yeah, so you can see there that the funds kind of grew really big. The ending balance in 2018 was $34,000. That was because there was a CD that was purchased to fund some playground, and then, or it might have been purchased earlier and then came due in there. I can't remember the details of that now, but Diego might remember. But and it ballooned from there, and I don't know that all the expenses were ever realized for that. But it is, you can see sitting there, setting aside that $35,000 that's in the savings account, that there's for the last 4 years, we've ended over $30,000.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, I think what we're seeing essentially is we're fiscally in a healthy place. We haven't overspent things we shouldn't have overspent, even though we might have spent a little more than what we normally do, the 5,600 versus 3 grand the last couple of years. But we're in a good place, so we weren't being irresponsible. So I just want to get that on the recording.
Yep. No, and V Paul, I appreciate the question, because I was going to ask a very similar question surrounding the donation that we get from the Masonic Lodge, because that is intended for field trips, and I think one of the categories is called student experiences, and I would kind of label that money for student experiences. And I know in a couple meetings in the past we've had to, where it's been brought up for approval for field trips, and I think that's not necessarily the case. It's not PTO. It's not PTO money. It's kind of our money that PTO is holding onto for the field trip. And so,
Yep.
when it comes to those pieces, I don't think we necessarily need approval for those things. And I think that's exactly what you were alluding to. And then the CD, we did cash out that CD because it was to be used for playground equipment. And when we had our remodel and construction project, a new playground was included within the construction budget. So that money then was just, stayed with the PTO and not used to purchase any equipment.
It occurs to me that is a good amount of money, and that with all the disruption of remote year, largely a remote year, a lot of students leaving and a lot of new students coming in, that it would probably be good to, if it's possible, to overspend some of those funds next year and buy that down. It seems like a lot of money to just sort of be sitting there not being used or applied to its intention. It of course makes sense to keep some money safe, but where we could enhance and help smooth any bumps that are going to come in the coming year from all the change and disruption.
Yep. I agree with that assessment. So thank you, Jason. And then, so really the only outstanding thing that we need to do a little bit of homework on is that one fundraising bit that was recurring every 2 weeks, but then stopped in 2021. So we'll check in with Alicia and Nicole about what that might have been, unless somebody on staff has a memory of what that is.
The Mighty Cause Foundation is what it's listed as.
Because if we just need to sign a letter somewhere saying we're still using your money, and then we'll get those checks again. We'll look into that. Okay, any questions from the floor? It looks like we got a couple of chats.
V-Paul, I just want to bring up a couple things in the chat. A couple folks have said that it's hard for them to hear. I don't know if there's background noise or if there's other things going on, but 2 members brought up that it's difficult for them to hear what's going on or what's being said.
All right, sounds good. Am I the background noise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah. Second, Silas, make that softer, would you please? Or tell you what, take your iPad and watch it on your iPad. Okay, so moving on. This is part of you. This was your breakdown, Jason. Use breakdown slide. Did you want to address this?
To it? Sorry, I was looking at the Excel document to be able to yeah.
So essentially, this is just a breakdown of the distance learning expenses that sort of we were slightly extra active, but we're no big deal.
Yep.
All right. Any questions about this slide? All right. Seeing none, why don't we move real quickly to funding requests? Miss Christine, Miss Kennard, I'm not sure how you go by with the students, so I'm going to give you the floor first. Thank you for coming to tonight's meeting. I'm going to switch content, get out of here. 1 second. All right. Do you see the Google Sheet?
Yes.
Uh, the 12936, Miss Christine.
Yes. So the kids are writing either a fable or a pourquoi tale, and we thought it would be kind of cool to have them. These are like hardcover books that have blank pages, and then we can print out their text and they can illustrate it, and then have sort of a keepsake of that. That's a little more permanent than the way we've done it in the past, just like paper. So, and when I submitted that, I gave you like I think the exact number of children I thought, but I think we should order a couple extra books and these liners. So it's approximately that amount of money, but that might not be exactly precise.
Okay, no, I think that's fine. You've got the detail, and there's an end result, and the amount is fudgeable. Does anyone have any questions about this one at all? And there's a process. We just got to get you the money through Miss Sue, and then off to the races, eh? Is that correct?
As far as I know, I don't
Yeah.
know the answer to that.
Hey, V, Paul, and Christine, it's Sue. I am happy to help facilitate that, Christine. We can get that ordered. And then Jason's been amazing. When I order something, I just turn in the receipt or the invoice, and he just reimburses me. So I can show proof of what we've spent our money on, and then it kind of speeds up the process. So time is...
Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's great to have working relationships like that. 12936 might grow by a little bit, but not by too much. I'm guessing it's
Yeah.
Just
It makes their project so much more special.
Mhm.
Such pride in their work that it'll be exciting to see what they come up with. The kids are excited about it.
All right. Any other questions from the floor? I can't see anybody, so I'm just going to pretend silence is golden. So if everyone would mind, 1 is a yes vote, 2 is a no vote. Let's just see it in the chat. All right. So this carries. So we're good with that one. I mean, it's pretty much majority at this point, whether or not we finish out. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Yep, thank you for the time, Miss Christine, Miss Kennard. When Silas gets to your class, I'm pretty sure I'll know what to call you. Okay, Miss Sue, why don't we tackle this one because there's a total on it, and then we could discuss the one where there's no total, and I know I'm a little unclear as to what the end result is, but it sounds like the person that submitted it is pretty open to ideas. So let's do the one you submitted, Miss Sue.
Okay, and I can speak on behalf of the other one as well. So
yeah, sure.
The one with the dollar amount was I requested a blanket amount of $500. That's kind of a rough estimate. Our 5th graders are involved in exhibition right now. And exhibition is when 5th graders actually do their own unit of inquiry on a topic of their interest. So they've just started a couple weeks ago, and they have so many amazing topics. We have lots of social issues. We have environmental issues. We have just personal interests in things. It runs a whole gamut. Kids work together and they work in partners, some in small groups. They pick this topic, they research this topic, and then as IB learners, we try to also act on what we know. So we're learning for a reason from K through 5. Every unit of inquiry we learn in, there's something we can do to make the world a better place. And so kids are also doing action projects with their with their exhibition projects. And so today I got my first request, which made me come to the PTO to say, I wonder if I could just have a little pot of money, which also I will document and show proof of how we're spending it to buy things such as, this is a Black Lives Matters group that would like to purchase silicone bracelets to say Black Lives Matter. And when I said, well, why do you need those? Why is that a good action project? They said, it's because when people wear them, they're going to think about what can they do that day while they're wearing that bracelet to be an anti-racist person or to do something better, to do better. And so, isn't that amazing? And we're so proud of our kids. Ultimately, they will collect all their information, implement their action, or showcase people who are doing actions already, and then they'll share that with the community in some way. And so we're still working on that format. So that's what I'm asking money for, is for when kids come to say. Another group that is thinking about a project is a group studying animal cruelty, and they are thinking about local pet shelters that might benefit from maybe having fleece tie blankets for the kennels or something else that they can make to give to the Humane Society. So things like that, things that the kids are asking for that we'll need to buy supplies for, but we don't necessarily have the funding for in school. Any questions or friendly comments?
Okay, thank you for that. Yep, questions to the floor. Let me just bring this back. So, so basically, it's you think 500 is sufficient for in terms of the slush fund?
You know what? I honestly, I don't think it might be, because this was my first project. We started action today, and I have kids at my door today talking about action and what they want to do and how they want to do it. So those those silicone bracelets, they have not yet priced it out against websites against each other, but it would be like $150, $160 for 300, they think. So I thought, well, we do have to look at other sources and find more options. But if that's the site that's the best, and that's like, oh, that's a bunch of the money already, and I don't know. So like, it could be. I didn't want to put more on there, but if I could ask for a little more, just in case, that would be great.
Sure, right. As a follow-up question, if folks don't mind, how many you said, like, in one room it's this amount, then there's another room. How many rooms are there?
There's 4 classrooms, and
Okay.
in each classroom there is 6 to 10 projects.
Okay.
And they won't all cost money. There's not, and we do try to keep it as, we're not trying to spend a lot of money, or
Yeah.
we're also not trying to over fundraise our community. So
Yeah.
action can look at it in many different ways.
Yeah, and no, for sure. Any other comments, questions from the floor? I'm just a little worried that the 500 really isn't enough, but I know that there's not really a ceiling that can be set. And the only other question is it possible at all to recommend, to suggest very kindly, very softly, that the kids work under kind of an almost arbitrary budget, but to sort of give them a ceiling before they start thinking big? Is that
Definitely.
part of
I
the,
would
can that be
absolutely
part of the
agree with that.
process? Okay.
And they also have to justify why they're asking.
Yep.
And this first group that requested these silicone bracelets, I had them sit with me while we did this proposal together.
Okay.
So they see that I'm asking. They're waiting patiently.
Sure. No, absolutely. Okay. So, any other questions, comments? Is there? I know 500 is a thing, but I don't. I almost want to say, what if we just go to 750 as an amount, and then Miss Sue could, in her own teacherly way, encourage the students to stick to a set budget, and I imagine then it'll be the same process. Miss Sue makes purchases, submits invoices to Jason, and off to the races.
Yeah.
And great. That sounds like a good idea. Let me just take a look at the quick chat. Could the request for funds be more, but not used in the way we could vote on a higher number? Okay. Oh, well, yeah, we just went there. So yeah. So I'm just visually looking. Nobody really balked at 750. It looked like. So without any other comments or discussion, I'm just going to put it out there. Approve this amount for 750 with the stipulation of setting the kids to some kind of budget that they would live under, rather than them shooting for the moon.
Definitely.
And just in following the same process that already occurs between Miss Sue and Jason.
Perfect.
It's a very oddly written motion, but I'm going to put it to a vote. 1 is a yes, 2 is a no. If you wouldn't mind putting it in chat, please. Oh, Sarah, you're a vote. You're a voting. Everybody's a voting member. All right. I think for the most part we're at majority, if not unanimity. So the motion carries. That's great. Thank you, Miss Sue. I think this is great. I think it may be too late at this point, but I wonder, just given the experiences we've all had, should there be for next year the consideration of some kind of digital process for the exhibitions? How do we preserve these digitally so that they may be viewed remotely and archived in such a way? I think that
Yes.
would certainly be great, and that could be a project for next year's PTO if that's something that they're willing to fund.
We are
Um,
working on something this year, Paul, about recording them. I mean, we'll have a exhibition in person and an exhibition in distance learning, and we are working on capturing what happens in person. We're trying to figure out a way to record that somehow. So last year we had a Google site, and then we could share that, and then people could look at the projects and give friendly comments or ask questions. And so we're hoping to be able to at least do it that way, which I know there's a lot of experts that could do it in a much more fancy way, but for now, we are trying to capture it.
Okay, no, great, good. I'm glad. I'm glad it wasn't an original idea to me. Not like I have any original ideas, frankly. But and if there's any if you need any assistance capturing, you know where to find me. I'm certainly happy to come on down and bring a camera. Okay, I think the one that might take a little more discussion, therefore, is that third item, Miss Sue, if you wouldn't mind talking about it. I'm gonna get rid of my video so you can all see. Um, Okay, so Miss Sue, take it. The floor is yours.
Okay, so this is another request on behalf of the fifth grade team in response to promotion. The fifth graders, each year we have some sort of special occasion where the students, we send them on to their middle school and show our pride in who they are and who they've become as Bancroft Bulldogs. And this year we thought it'd be really fun and to give like a little bit of a Bancroft swag bag or something to accompany the rest of the things I'll be taking along with them. And one of the things we did last year that the kids really, really liked was we gave this little, and I don't have one, so I don't have one to show, but it's like a cute little Bancroft Bulldog bear, and he's wearing a Bancroft t-shirt. And kids loved that. And so that's what they were asking for was, could we look into purchasing those for our fifth graders again this year? And as well as, is there anything else the PTO might have on hand? Bancroft pencils or a pen or anything else we can add to the swag bag. We're also going to add some books. Kids are going to get books to take with them. They'll take their portfolio as an IB student with them. So we asked Nicole, who helped purchase those Bulldogs last spring, and I think she purchased 100 of them, and they were about $800. So it'd be we're asking for about $800 to purchase those Bulldogs, those Bulldog bears. And was there any other ideas that you think the kids might really love to have in that little swag bag?
Okay, thank you, Miss Sue. So, any questions from the floor about this one? Um, Let me turn my camera on so I could see folks. And the only issue for me is the uncertainty of the amount and the end result. And we still have hundreds of Bancroft pencils. Thank you, Linda. We've got hundreds of Bancroft pencils. And I know the closet's got a bunch of lanyards that we tried selling for $5 back in the fall of 2019. Okay, so pencils and lanyards, so that's there, so we can take those costs off. I don't think we need to credit ourselves or debit ourselves, however that works in the accounting world.
And really,
But
if we could just have the bears, we'd be happy, I think, because they are going to have other things to take with them as well.
so
I guess I'm
so
just asking for the bears.
yeah. I mean, I think that's a fair request. What one thing I was going to propose, if so, let's take this two different ways. But let's approve the bears, or let's have a vote on the bears to approve that cost and see how PTO feels about that. But I think the other thing, certainly, the only issue is that our core leadership is in a strange state. because we're not necessarily, I don't know what quorum is right now, but Mandy's back because she's done swinging a hammer for now. So I think that brings us to quorum maybe. Anyway, the point is we could take it through the email process for anything additionally. So I'm going to put two motions on the floor here. The first motion is approve an $800 price tag to rebuy the bears that seem to have been a hit in the past. Let me just take a look at the chat. And oh, people are already voting. Oh, look at that. All right. So one's a yes, two is a no. You all know the drill. It's almost like you're all moving in the same order. Okay, I think that carries the majority, if not unanimous. So that passes. The second I was going to put on the floor was with PTO's approval, and certainly, and we'll report it and account for it, but we'll just take it through the email chain, Ms. Sue, if there's an additional funding need. As
Right.
this is,
Yep.
we'll pass it through the email chain. We'll figure out which officers are still active and votable,
Okay.
and
Thank
we'll
you
do
so
it that
much.
way.
Yep.
So let me
and
just
can-
let me just pass it through. I would just like to get, since we've got the 11 or so people here who are voting on PTO. The motion is to allow additional funding to pass through the email chain if it were to be needed by Ms. Sue. So yes for one for yes, two for no, please. Okay, the order is different here now. All right, good deal. It's not just all robots. Okay, so that carries. Okay, there you go, Ms. Sue. So you got a couple slush funds.
Thank you all. And Jason, I just want to say a huge thanks for all you're doing to help support us. You've been amazing.
That's very kind. Thank you for all you do for the kiddos.
Okay, great. So I'm going to go back to the slide deck. I think that takes us to the last item under here. And Linda, would you like to address it? We are asking, so the memory book folks are asking PTO to carry the printing costs for memory book. I know that wasn't part of the original plan. That the original plan was to pass the costs through the district printers, and that way it could get covered by the school. But in terms of timing, and in terms of quality, and frankly in terms of assurance, because the district printers couldn't really give a guarantee about what would be delivered and when. The memory book folks researched an alternate printer. And so Linda, would you like to sort of discuss that, because you're the one that came up with the price tag?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yeah, I gave them the information that Michelle had, because I don't speak printerese. And when I did call the document center, and I didn't plug in all the information in their process, but they would still have been cheaper. But like I said, they could not guarantee that they could get it to us. I think it was 25 to 30% cheaper than what we were getting through from the estimate from the printer that we've been talking to.
Sure. And so just for PTO, the estimate was in the ballpark of $2,900 to cover printing of 600 books. And Michelle, given that you are our resident printing expert, and you've chatted with them or connected with them, could you just address how confident we feel about this before we take it to a vote?
How confident we feel. So I will say we got quotes from one person never got back to me with quotes, but I looked into quotes from two other places, and this was definitely the one that Linda got was the lowest quote. So that's actually for 600 books, quick turnaround, there's a pretty good price. The only thing I wasn't sure, since that, and this is a question for Linda, since the district is cheaper, if we know, say, we're going to be done on, I'm assuming we'll be done with this on Friday is kind of the target I have in mind is upload everything on Friday, and then we don't have to worry about it over the weekend. And then if the printer has any issues, they can get back to us early on Tuesday. So my only question, Linda, is if we know, the files are ready on Friday, is it worth it to contact the document center on Friday and say, this is what we've got, it's ready to go, to give them one last shot at it? Or is that not even, will they not even guarantee it, even if we're handing.
They won't be able to tell us until that day, and to tell, frankly, I don't trust them at this point.
Fair enough. I just wasn't sure if when we're at that day, if it's Friday morning and we're ready to roll, is it worth it to contact them one last time to save 20%?
I think for I just think for security's sake of having something deliverable of high quality, I think I think we should go with the not the not district.
I'll be honest. As an additional comment, not talking about the guarantee so much, but a part of me is hoping that we can have this nailed down by Wednesday and shipped, because the long weekend might actually push rather than pull. And I know Michelle and Alicia's not online here, but I know we've got the layouts to deal with still to finish. But the layouts are looking great. Let me just give the PTO a quick update. Almost all the pages are made except for the staff page, and now we're just in the process of making sure we're not double picturing or misspelling names. So we really are in a good place. And originally we were meant to be done by today, but we pushed a little bit just to catch up on some late submissions. And so, from a memory book standpoint, Michelle, and we could take this offline, I am hoping for getting it in sooner rather than Friday, because Friday before Memorial Day, I'm just worried.
Yeah. And we can take this offline too. But we just need to make sure we have enough time for edits. But just so everybody else knows, it is actually almost done. We have I almost all the pages. It's going to be a 40-page book, so we're confident that it's a 40-page book. Sorry, I know I'm giggling at this too, because this is a common question you get as a designer. So confident it's going to be a 40-page book. And we've kind of figured out what the pages are going to be. There's some activities for the kids to do. So it's not going to be a traditional yearbook, because we don't have the Life Touch photos. So it's really a lot more like candid selfies. There's some photos of kids working. We've tried to represent a combination of distance learning and in person. I'd say the bulk of the photos are in person photos, because the bulk of the kids are in person, but we did try to represent distance learning, and we got some of the distance learning projects in there. And we have some activity pages for the kids, because it's not a traditional yearbook, so we've got some pages for them to respond. There's an IB specific activity page, so thanks, Linda, for all that information.
And thank you, Sue, for your information on that.
The IB stuff has been so great to have that included. And there's activity pages then thanks to Sue and Linda, there's activity pages that go with each grade, as well as some school-wide activity pages. So we're hoping this will be something for the kids to remember, and also just something fun for the kids to have, for the kids to respond to and interact with, and remember Bancroft and remember this very strange year. So we're really hoping it'll be good. There's also a picture of a dog with a mask.
Context for anybody who's seen our traditional yearbook, this is just going to be a few pages longer.
Oh, it's gonna be a few pages longer than the regular yearbook?
Yeah, I think our traditional yearbook has been about 36 pages.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just a little bit.
Yeah, so this is 36 then with the cover, so it makes it 40 with the cover. So it'll be about, and then it'll be, have the fun stuff for the kids to do.
Yeah.
I hope the kids like it.
Yeah, let's sorry, I mean the details are great. I just don't want to slow down the agenda items. We've got one more agenda item we're going to try to hit before 6:30, but I think the most important part is this: for the reasons of certainty of delivery, quality of delivery, and an assurance that the students are going to have something that they're going to enjoy. The motion is that PTO covers the $2,900 cost for the memory books. As stated in Jason's last talk, we are in a good financial place. We may have overspent a little bit in some buckets, but certainly nowhere near something irresponsible. And so I'm making the pitch to PTO for it. If there's I'd like to open discussion before we put it to a vote. Is there any discussion regarding, because I know this is a bigger amount than what we normally, discuss. All right. So, seeing no discussion, I'm going to put it to a vote. Let's go with 1 yes, 2 no. Thank you, Jason, for the no objections. Let's see the votes, and then we're going to go right to Kimberly for mums. But let's do this.
All right, I'll let you tally the votes. Sorry for the
No, it's all right. All right.
weird
Looks like we've
lighting
got
and the big
majority.
extra
So,
noise.
yep.
I'm sitting in my car outside my son's. Cool.
Motion
All right,
carries.
can you,
So we're going to go to, yep.
people, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you
Okay.
just physically be a little closer to your mic, maybe? I wonder if that'll help. Or actually, first of all, Kimberly, turn off your video. Your video's frozen, and so your internet's bad. So let's just consolidate everything to your audio. And just to prep everyone, what we're about to discuss.
You know what? Hold on. Let me just change off of it being attached to my car and go to. Sorry about this.
What we're about to discuss is the idea of putting a plant sale in the fall, a mom's plant sale. It's already been floated as an idea maybe 2 or 3 meetings ago. This is an idea that Kimberly would spearhead. It would be put on the shoulders of the incoming PTO, whoever that may be, but certainly it would be the kind of thing that would need to be active on in the summer, which is why we're bringing it up now. And so go ahead, Kimberly.
Right. Am I okay now?
Oh yeah, that's much better. Much better. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I'm outside swim lessons. So the idea is Paul's Market is one of the greenhouses we've worked with for years. They're the ones who do the beautiful planters and the hanging baskets for our spring plant sale. And prior to COVID, we were actually going to go all in with them for our plant sale, and oh gosh, I guess it was 2020 that was canceled. And I've stayed in touch with Jane Paul over this whole time, and they also do a fall mom fundraiser. And over the year of COVID, they've gone like 100% online. And I know that we've had some concerns about that for all of our families in the past. And what I thought is maybe we could test this with a fall mom fundraiser, which is not part of our normal plan for fundraising. It could be a good test for how many families are able to and want to participate online, color or this color, this size or this size, whatever it might be. And I don't have those details from Jane yet because I don't think they've finalized those. They're busy into spring sales right now. But it's very quick at the beginning of the year. So it would require some work over the summer. I don't think a lot because so much of it is done online. And it could be a great way to welcome families back. But the deal is that they deliver when they can deliver for you to give out the moms would be between Monday, September 13th and Saturday, September 25th. You, of course, pick the date and the time that you want to do it. But they need the orders in by Thursday, September 9th. And, Diego, I know that's pretty short order after the start of the school year. But we could use it during open houses as a way to welcome families in. And we're doing this and welcome to Bancroft. If you'd like some foliage for your front stoop. And so I wanted to bring this to the PTO before getting too deep into it with Paul's Market to see if people think that this would be something that would be a good idea for us to take on.
Thank you, Kimberly. Are there any questions from the floor?
I just
just real quick. Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead, Michelle. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with this company, so you would probably know this better than I do. But I know there's some concern with some plants, like some of the big box plants, not being pollinator friendly. And I know Bancroft.
No, Paul's is a local family, small, owned and operated. They've got statements on neonicotinoids and all of the stuff. So they're not a major big place. I mean, I work with Jane Paul, daughter of the owner, who they're in Apple Valley.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I put it in the chat. And I think you said that September 9th would be when the order forms would be due. Our school year starts
it wouldn't be forms though, Diego. Families would have to go and place their orders online.
Okay.
So this wouldn't be the manual.
Okay, so our first day of school is September 8th, and then our high fivers and kindergartners don't even start until the 10th. So if we are going to do it, it would really have to be a push.
If we can do it. Yeah.
So Thank you for that that comment, Diego. Justin, you unmuted. Did you have a comment?
I was just going to say one of the things that Kimberly and I talked about in relation to this was maybe just keeping it super simple. And it was just like maybe even just one option. There wouldn't be multiple options. It'd just be one color, one size. And it's just, do you want one of these or not? You know, and the people that want one can order one. And maybe you get a handful of people that do, maybe people don't because of the timeline or whatever. But just thought of something else that could help, you know, generate a little bit of income maybe. And really, for the most part, test out the viability of the online ordering system. Whereas, you know, in the past we've done strictly the paper forms, and that can be a little bit tricky. So a lot of parents had asked if we could do sort of a web-based fundraiser that way with the plant sales. So this might be a good test, is what we were thinking.
And
No,
one
that's a
thing
great
that I
statement.
would like to add to that is that, and sorry, Justin, but that with one of the things that I would be willing to do is, as a donation from my family, Justin and me, is that we would pay for the delivery fee. It's $75, and we would donate that to the PTO or to the school.
That's a very generous offer. Thank you. I don't know if necessarily if we're in the place of doing this. I don't know if we need to necessarily do that, but that's great. I think that's great. Sorry, let me just hit a button to make sure my kid gets fed. Sorry, I'm postmating.
Is there a hey everybody, is there a minimum to purchase? So like, would there be harm in doing it and end up with only 20 moms purchased? Whether that, sorry, would there be any harm in not having a ton of flowers purchased?
As long as Sue buys
In the past,
10
because they
herself.
only did hanging baskets and planters with us. Yeah, it's not there wouldn't be. It's a single delivery fee for them no matter how many they bring for you. And I think the last time, if I'm recalling correctly, in 2019 at the plant sale, they delivered like 20 planters and 20, maybe it was 30 hanging baskets, and that was the entire order that they had with the school.
Okay.
Kimberly, I got a quick question. So if the
But I have to drop off.
Okay. If the orders are due, I think she said she's jumping off, but if the orders are due on September 9th, when would the plant delivery actually be?
So sorry.
Kimberly mentioned we could choose the delivery date between 9/13 and 9/25.
Okay.
Is that right? Is that what she said? I think that's what I wrote down.
To sort of help this along, I think as a fundraising activity, certainly there's a lot of positivity. It's a simple thing, as Justin mentioned, that it's a testing of the waters of online, which we need to sort of move that direction anyway. But the thing that I'm interested in seeing is that it certainly is a good. This is for incoming PTO though, so whoever ends up there, but putting on their shoulders that this is an activity to drive to sort of help focus the outreach that I would really like to see happen from PTO to the 200 or so new students, or however many families that represents. We could certainly, for example, I don't know if mums come in blue and gold. I have no idea. But what are the chances of pushing it in that way? School colors, outreach to the new families, quick fundraiser. We are not in dire straits, but we do need to do some replenishing. And so we could certainly represent it in that way, that just the spending that we have done this year, it'd be nice to sort of get some things rolling in, and we're doing some testing of the waters. So I think Kimberly's dropped off, but I think what I'm interested in getting direction from, or hearing direction from, is I think on the cons side, it's a tight turnaround. But that's really the only con. Is that a fair statement to make? Is there any other downside to asking somebody or selling mums to people?
I would say that we'd have to maybe try to communicate this maybe before school starts. Is there a way to do that? Can we communicate that a couple weeks via email or something. Welcome Bancroft families.
Yes, yeah. Yeah. Brianna just put in school open house as a possible notion. I am attending PT, the kindergarten. I'm going to plug PTO at a meeting tomorrow. I forget what it is. It's got something that Diego put out an email. I said, I want to come to your meeting. And so thank you for letting me come to your meeting, by the way, Diego. I would frankly, I'm hoping I'm going to be on PTO again. So we'll see how this goes when we get to that part of the discussion. But frankly, I think it certainly is possible that we'll have some communication and some effort because we will need it in order to get to however many families 200 kids represent, because that's however many families it is, they don't know we exist. If anyone saw the Facebook post, I just made the first posting to the Minneapolis Public School thing, and that got some nice little traction. So I think that's kind of, there's some potential there. So the point is this, I think, unless I'm just to sort of put a ribbon in this, and I do want to get some progress to give Kimberly direction. Can we do a PTO vote to like, you know, PTO puts this on next council as a form of outreach activity to the new families and our existing families at the top of the school year. In spite of the tight turnaround, I do think we can make this work, and I think it's a good focal point. So, frankly, the motion is to put it on next council to sort of shoulder with Kimberly's leadership, um, to take this on as an outreach effort more than a fundraiser effort. Does that sound like a fair motion? I see some head nodding. I got 4 head noddings. Okay, so let's go with it. So 1 for yes, 2 for no in the chat, if you would please. That's a unanimous, considering our numbers dropped a little bit here. I wonder how the YouTube folks are doing. I haven't checked in a little bit. Anyway, okay, great. So we kicked the can a little bit, but I think basically what we said is this is a soft yes. I think that's a fair statement to make, considering that we still have to hammer out details. But I think it's fair. Justin, you tell me that's fair direction to give to Kimberly. This is a soft yes, and incoming officers would certainly bear the brunt of it with her leadership. Yeah.
Absolutely, and we'd be willing to, shoulder most of it as well in terms of like organizing. We have the familiarity with the bigger plant sales, so and Kimberly has the relationship with the nursery already, so it would really mean just maybe if everybody's comfortable with doing like, an email chain. Is that how we would want to do that to kind of move it forward through the summer? If everybody's okay with that, then that's what we'll do. Send out a periodic update. Here's where we're at. Let people comment as they wish, and hopefully hammer something out.
Yep. Okay. Great. Thank you. Diego, holy moly, 6:32. We're only getting item 2. I think I was way overly ambitious with this agenda. But let's go to Diego. I'm going to put up your slide, Diego. The floor is yours.
What do I got here? All right. Well, I just want to say thanks to everyone for joining us this evening. It's really hard to believe that we have only 13 days left of this school year. I think it's just been a crazy year. We started in distance learning, and there's been a convergence of lots of different events and things that have happened. We've tried to work and learn through a pandemic. We had tomorrow, I just want to recognize too, is the 1-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd. And so I think that's going to trigger a lot of things. We've had some social injustice. We've had political injustice. I think I shared some of this in my letter for the memory book. So I just want to recognize that, we also have the CDD. We have a number of families that have been working through trying to learn about schools and where are my kids going to end up for next school year and the years beyond that. So I think there's just been this convergence of lots of things, a lot of stressors, and it's shocking that we're 13 days away from the end of the 2020-2021 school year. But with all of that said, I do want to start off by talking about our learning modes. The deadline to request any moves between distance learning to in-person has passed. That was back on April 26th, so a month ago. We ended up with 65% of our students back in person. So a total of about 330, 331, 32 kids. And then 35% of our students remained in distance learning. The most recent, I guess, event that happened is that we did recall Mary Schoberg, one of the second grade teachers, to support our second grade learners that were in person. And so all the remaining students that were in DL all shifted to Miss Ramgren's class. And I believe she has like 27 students in her class, 28 students. So not a significantly high number, higher than what she had before. But all the second graders had shifted over to Miss Ramgren's class. I know there's also some COVID pieces that are still happening. I mean, we're still in a pandemic. I know many staff members, community members now have been vaccinated. We have students also ages 12 and higher, none really at our school because they're not 12, but many students are also being vaccinated, which is fantastic. We've had at Bancroft, since we went in person, 3 confirmed positive cases. And so MPS will continue the 14-day quarantine period for students if they do, if they're considered a close contact. So that's one of the pieces that's also happening. A big shift that happened recently, back on May 7th, after the governor's response or proclamation on the 6th of May, masks are no longer required outside, which also includes recess. So you may see a number of our students and staff members not wearing masks outside at recess. We do still require masks to be worn indoors. And so the expectation is kids will wear their masks until they reach the recess door, and then they all pop their masks on before they come in the building. We're still maintaining distancing between each class. And so we're not having classes of students mixed together. So if there's 2 first grades out, for example, you know, one class has the field and the blacktop, and then the other class has the playground, and they'll switch back and forth each day, but we're not switching cohorts or mixing cohorts of classes. I know there's some other pieces from the, I don't want to call it proclamation, but the piece that the governor shared is also some of the loosening of restrictions. But masks are still required indoors. And so whenever you come in the building, you'll see all the students still wearing their masks, and staff are still wearing the masks except for when they're eating lunch. I know May 28th, there's also some loosening of restrictions. We are able to have volunteers outside of the school. So we've had a volunteer, one of our parents who's an author, came and shared her expertise with us. With our kindergarten class and some 5th graders. So that was awesome. And so we are able to have some volunteers be with us outside of the building. Let's see, anything else, Ms. Nichols, that I'm missing on those pieces?
I don't think so.
Okay. What else do I have on there? Staffing update? I think so. I did want to share, yeah, there we go. I think I've shared a number of times with people that we have, you know, because of the CDD, we've had to make some shifts in our budget. We had to cut around $1.9 million out of our budget. And what I shared with families is that comes out to basically 1 less section per grade level. And so we're losing 15 classrooms. I did share this at Coffee, Tea, and IB last week. But I did want to share some of the teachers that won't be with us, unfortunately, and some of the other staff members that won't be with us next year, just so I don't think that's ever been said publicly, but I wanted to share where they're at. And I think almost every single one of our teachers has gotten another position in Minneapolis Public Schools. So I think that's really exciting. I think it speaks to the quality of the people that we had in our building, that they all were able to find positions very quickly. But we know that in kindergarten, this is where I think our hardest hit grade level, where Miss Kira is moving on, and Miss Kira is moving on to Seward. Miss Jill is also was one of the teachers accessed, and she'll be at Pillsbury next year. And Miss Marquardt was another teacher that was accessed, and she'll be at Hiawatha Howe. And so Miss Dibble will be our returning teacher, and then Miss Simpson and Miss Abrahamson will actually be moving down to kindergarten for next year. And then first grade, Miss Tiffany unfortunately was a teacher accessed, and I believe she'll be at Marcy. And Mr. Coffey was also a teacher that was accessed, and he'll be at Field next year. Feels like a long list here. Miss Mahovsky is another teacher from 4th grade. She also taught 3rd grade and kindergarten with us, and she'll also be at Marcy. Ms. Rorson, who was a first-year teacher this year in 5th grade. I'm not sure where she will be next year. Mr. Menke, who was our SEL teacher on special assignment this year, he'll be at Loring School. KP, one of our EL teachers, they will be moving up to adult learning. They'll be working at T Plus or Transition Plus. And so that's kind of a thing that they wanted to do for a while. And so they had that opportunity this time. Ms. Amy, who's another EL teacher in 1st grade. She will be a new EL teacher at Pratt. Ms. Jerry will be an EL teacher. Oh man, I can't remember, at Marcy also. Yep, she'll be. So we have a large contingent moving to Marcy. Ms. Christie, one of our performing arts specialists, she will be moving to Marcy also. And Mr. Arnold will not be returning to Bancroft either. And he was our tech teacher, and he's been on leave for a little bit. And then the other one, we are continuing band, but we will have a different band teacher. So Ms. Hunt will be leaving our school and joining 3 other schools. I don't know them off the top of my head right now, but we'll have another instrument teacher because all 5th graders across the district will receive instrumental music. Ms. Linda, if she's here, she's also another person that was accessed. Mr. Elmi, Miss Saida, Miss Monica. There was a number of staff that the CDD and our budget challenges have affected. And so I just wanted to let people know who those folks were so that you could, connect. I know some of you have them as teachers right now or have had them as teachers. So I want to make sure that you were aware of that information and can just share your thoughts and good wishes to everyone as they move on. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I'm missing something. The other thing I wanted to talk about was just summer school offerings. There's a big push for folks to participate in summer school. There are many different options. There's the ALC, which is like extended learning time, and that's actually happening at Bancroft for grades K through 4. We also have extended school year happening at Bancroft this summer, which is a special education summer school. There's spirit camps that are happening at South High School and Edison High School, where kids can do soccer and lacrosse and basketball. So there's a lot of really fun things happening throughout the summer. We have those options linked on our webpage, and I think they're one of the big banners that scroll across the top of the MPS page as well. So you can find some summer school offerings for your students, and it's open for all students. And so we're encouraging all students to sign up for something. The other piece I wanted to share too is just about upcoming dates. There's a lot of things happening. I think we'll transition into something as far as the farewell fun. But this week we have field day on the 28th of Friday. We are finalizing our schedule, and I think I can say it here. Parents are more than welcome to join once we get that schedule finalized, and you can know when your child's time is. It's going to be about an hour and 10 minutes of the day where we'll have each grade and each class separated and doing different events around our grounds of our school. And so I'm really looking forward to it. I know Mr. Maxwell has put a lot of effort into it. I know Ms. Nichols, I'll recognize her too, because she took on the project of scheduling it and making sure that it was running smoothly, even though she didn't want to. So thank you, Brianna, for doing that. So that's a really fun event to look forward to. We also have our exhibition, like Ms. Sue had talked about. That's on the 8th of June. It's a really great opportunity for our 5th graders to showcase their learning and their learner attributes that they have put to work. And And then June 10th is the tentative date that we have set aside for our farewell fun or farewell fair, to just come together as a community, to again recognize and celebrate the time that this community spent together, to wish everyone the best as they move on to different schools, different jobs, different places. So that's that. And then June 11th is our last day of school. And we will have our 5th grade promotion, and we're trying to think creatively of how we can do that. And so we'll probably do a lot of it virtual and have some of the recognition pieces possibly at our farewell fun on the 10th. So I think I covered everything. I don't know if there's anything else we want to
no, that was great. That was everything on your agenda.
Okay.
Any questions for Diego for what he's talked about? I do want to say I think PTO we're going to tackle it as quickly as we can. Participation in the June 10 event, whether organizationally or whatnot. But apart from that, anything else from the earlier stuff that Diego shared?
Oh, I forgot to say one thing. It's happening tomorrow night. We have our kindergarten and high five open house. And so it's an opportunity to meet our newest, littlest learners, and for them to kind of get an idea of who the teachers are, what their classrooms look like, to start the registration process. I'm really excited to meet our newest Bancroftians tomorrow night at our kindergarten high five open house.
Great, thank you. Any comments? Seeing none, I'm going to move real quickly to June 10, PTO. Would you like to be involved? Or Diego, do you want us to help out in some fashion?
I do. I would love any support or ideas, or I don't want to call it a task force, but some subcommittee of coming up with some ideas of things to have. I mean, when I think about our open house, when we had our grand opening, we had a lot of events in the cafeteria, which we probably can't do this year. We had a bouncy house in the gym. We had some parents who were singer-songwriters and played songs for us. One of our teachers played songs. We had kind of like a scavenger hunt through the building to see the new spaces. We had food trucks, which I think we can definitely have this time. But we were also thinking of what are some other things that we could do just to recognize students. So maybe we could do a little, what do you call those, carnival-like type things, maybe a couple games, some hula hoop things. We did balloon animals. I'm just throwing out lots of ideas that we can kind of grab onto a couple of them and run with.
Well, is there an organizational committee on this already? Is there something among staff? Or
you're looking at them.
All right. So let's
me and Brianna and Sue and Linda and Lisa. That's it.
I don't think this is anything we necessarily need to vote on, and there's only the folks that are actually literally sitting here. But I think you can count on me if we could set up a meeting outside of this to sort of talk ideas. Anyone else from PTO want to be involved in this? Justin, thank you for the hands up. I think Tana stepped away, so I'm going to wait for her to see if she is interested. But yeah, so you've got 2 for sure. Tomorrow is a kindergarten thing, so maybe we'll set up a Wednesday. I don't know, or during the day. I mean, it's your work days. I don't know if you necessarily want to be taking on things extracurricularly. Justin, I don't know what your hours during the day are like, but could we set up just a little quick email chain to get something going tomorrow? Diego, I'll let you sort of spearhead that, but I think you've got some extra hands on deck. Tana, would you like to be part of the organizational? I put the question out there. Anyone who's sitting on the meeting right now that wants to be part of the June 10, we're just trying to say we're going to set up a little quick meeting. So if you're interested, let me know. I'll throw your email in the chain, or Diego can reach out.
I'm interested. I don't really have daytime availability, but
no, that's fine. If you're interested, I'm going to stop right there. I stopped listening after the but, or before the but. So let's just call it at that. I do want to get stuff into this meeting, and frankly, we're not going to solve the problem now. We're not going to organize the problem now, but we are going to get it done. So Diego and Brianna, you got some extra hands, some extra minds. So it's just really just a matter of time. Let's get together on this.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think it's just an opportunity to brainstorm some ideas of what to have there, and maybe make some phone calls that I don't have time to make, as far as getting a food truck or doing some of those things, or people know people. I mean, that's usually how it works.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll reach out to our community of artists and talented folks. There's a lot in this community. Secondly, Linda, you brought it to our attention, and it was a Diego idea, is the way you're sort of phrasing it. But welcome packages. Is there any specificity to the idea, Diego or Linda, for new families? Because this was the other idea that could have been a focal point for PTO. I don't know if the school has funding that you wanted, or you're looking to us for funding, but did you want to talk about that?
Sure, I can talk about it a little bit. It's a little of both. So I think it's an idea that I've had since I started at Bancroft, but I thought it was super cool how all of our students got a t-shirt. And the minute we handed them a t-shirt, I think 98% of the kids put it on and wore it the rest of the day. And it was amazing to see all the Bancroft blue walking around. And the next day, some kids wore them, and the next day the kids wore them. And so I just think it was such a point of pride for me as the principal to see all of that. And I think a point of pride maybe for the kids to have their very own Bancroft shirt. And every day you see somebody, one of the kids, 10 of the kids wearing them. And so for me, I think it was just the visual of community, a visual of connectedness, togetherness. And I would love to have some sort of welcoming piece for our students when they all come to Bancroft. And so there may be 190 kids that have a Bancroft shirt already, and we need the 200 other kids to have a Bancroft shirt. And so that was one of the things, and Sue said it earlier, maybe like a swag bag. Like I would love for each kid to be able to, walk in at our open house, grab a t-shirt that fits them, and then they have that shirt for the rest of the year. So we can have, Friday fun days where it's wear your Bancroft blue. It sounds like we have hundreds of Bancroft pencils. So we could throw that into a welcome package. But I just want something for the kids and for us to develop a sense of community and connection and belonging, because we do have kids, coming from many different schools.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great idea. And again, when Linda sort of brought it to us, I thought this would be a great way for our incoming PTO to sort of make that a focal point for outreach as well. And maybe now in conjunction with moms. But any comments, questions, discussions regarding the idea? We certainly have a good t-shirt process by now.
Yeah, Nicole already emailed me and said, should I order these already? It's like, no. It's like, we're going to talk about this tonight.
Yeah. I think we don't need to put anything in motion now. I'm guessing, Diego, regarding these, we certainly have the summer to do this, but I think I'm just looking to PTO. Would you at this point just approve the motion is same as the mom's motion? It's for next, we're going to recommend, so I'm going to suggest, Justin's already voted on this, frankly. He's already got a 1. So 1 for PTO to fund t-shirts or something to go in a swag bag, details to follow. And that'll be the part 2 of PTO summer, of incoming part 2. So let's see where we are, and I think we're definitely at quorum. We're definitely at majority. So okay, cool. That carries. Thank you very much. We are at 8 minutes. I think frankly, the item that I'd like to discuss, because we've now got 2 things for PTO to do over the summer, is arrange who are the PTO folks are going to do it. In past years, my understanding is past years elections have always been at the beginning, and that way all parents kind of have a shot at, if you're interested in being involved, the full slate is open. And then maybe there's in summertime there'd be some volunteers that sort of get together. I think the year I joined, I think Alicia and Nicole were active over the summer as co-presidents, is my memory from the year, because that was the way it was sort of described. The point I would like to sort of put to the floor is that we elect our president, treasurer, since those are the folks that have the ability to pay for things, and a communications chair, since that's the person that's going to get the word out over the summer, or is going to have to shoulder some of that. Over the summer, and that would be the set of 3 officers that do work with any other volunteers who would like. They could step in and out, and then we save vice president or co-president, however we go with that, secretary, and then we're adding 2 new positions, at-large positions, which could be just project people, but people who have leadership roles. There's an expectation that they are active in the email chain when things need to be voted by email. There's an expectation that they're attending meetings, that kind of thing, but they don't necessarily have a specific portfolio. And this kind of helps for things like, Nicole actually is thinking that would be more her role, because she does have a leadership role. She has a presence. She just doesn't have the time for the administrative part of the job necessarily, not of the job, but of the role necessarily. But without her, there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen. So that's the idea I'm putting forward. Is there any, I'm opening the floor to discussion or questions. Okay, not seeing any discussion or questions. So I'm going to, go ahead.
Sorry. So I guess, are we considering our roles right now?
Well, I think that's certainly the thing. If no one objects to the idea or would like to change the idea or something, I mean, that's really, I'm putting it to the floor. At the end of this, in the next 6 minutes, okay, I'd like to put a motion out that we are going to do this. 3 officers actually selected and elected now. And I know we don't quite have the turnout, but then the rest to happen as I described in September. And then those are the 3 that we know are going to carry the load with whoever else wants to join us in or out, coming through.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
And I do want to acknowledge for all of us that are current officers, Mandy, Jason, me, thank you for all that you've done. And if you want to come back, I think this is an opportunity to come back. But it's just we're in the last 6 minutes of this meeting.
Yeah.
I did want to get it done.
Yeah, if you don't mind me interjecting, I guess I will
Go
say
ahead.
that I think I'm currently still the president, and I don't think I'm a great president. Even if I hadn't gone back to school, I just don't know if I am really like a leader. I'm more of a I'll take your directions and follow them and get it done. But I have a harder time being the visualizer or being the person who gets that going. So I just want to acknowledge that. And
I want to poo-poo that idea, first of all. I think when you were able to be active, you were great in the fall. All right. Before you started swinging a hammer, I think, and certainly, frankly, if you look at the recordings, because I know I sort of took the mantle of running meetings, and there's clearly a different style, but your style was a great style. So don't be too hard on yourself. All right.
I would consider being co-president with somebody who maybe has a stronger voice.
So let's do this. Sure. Well, let's do this.
I was thinking maybe you'd be interested.
Well, yeah. So, now I really don't know if we're getting into electoral fraud at this point. But let's do this. Are we? Let's just put a vote: 1 for yes, 2 for no. We're going to go with the plan as I described. 3 officers.
Okay. Sorry, I jumped the gun.
Yeah.
Just
no
really
worries,
wanted to say that.
I got it. Just want to get this all so that when I don't know what kind of nonprofit auditing occurs, but when that occurs, they got a video of us doing things properly. So 1 for yes, 2 for no. All right, so we've got that. So having said that, yes, I am interested in coming back, and yes, I am interested in the president position this year, but I would like to open the floor to others. Justin, you've been active, and I see you at Scouts, how active you are there too, so I don't want to close the door necessarily. And Jason, you're a great treasurer. I'd love for you to also run again, because I know I don't have the head for numbers. But anyway, so let's just put it out there. Who is interested in what? I think Mandy's already stated that she's interested in co-presidenting, and I think that's great. I know I am interested in co-presidenting. Anybody else? We're talking about the president/co-president position. Oh, and actually, sorry, at this point, I guess we're almost finagling. We would need 1 co-president right now, treasurer, communications chair, because we did want to leave another vice president/co-president available for any newcomers next year. I guess that was the actual thing.
Okay.
So
well, I could
maybe we're running against each other, man.
That's what if you. Darn it! I feel like maybe president and communications could be the same position, because I feel like you kind of fill those.
I mean, yes, I did, because I'm communications chair now, and I just. Yes.
You're kind of de facto running the meetings. Anyway, I'm not trying to push too much on you, but I feel like
right. No,
that's kind of where your talent lies.
I really want people to be active, and the people that are here have been the core. Hannah,
What
you've
if-
been coming to these great meetings. I don't know if you were an officer before I got here, but I feel like if you were interested,
I'm happy to be active through the summer as like kind of an at-large member, and then in the fall we can see who's interested in what, and just see where that shakes out. Like I could do any sort of secretarial, like note taking, record keeping stuff.
Sure. No.
Just over the summer, and then we'll just see where it falls in the fall. And I'm happy to continue and step up, or I'm happy to let someone else take that mantle. Like,
Yep, gotcha. So let's put right now it's the president's role. I am keeping my head in the race. Mandy, it sounds like you're going to take your head out of the race right now. Anybody else interested in the president's role pre-summer? Diego, would you like to be president of the PTO? All right. So seeing none, can I put a vote to allowing me to be president? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Great. Thank you, everybody. I'm not going to let you down. We've got the treasurer position. Jason, you've done a great job, and you're welcome to also throw your hat in the ring, but I want to open that up, and we've also got the communication chair after that. So for treasurer position, seeing what the process as it has been, and is anyone interested, or any comments or questions of Jason, since he's the current one, about what the role needs or means for anyone that needs that kind of background info?
I have loved to do this, but it's work has become much more demanding than I had imagined, and I, despite the comments earlier from Sue, I don't think that I can give it the attention I need. So if somebody else were interested, I would gladly mentor that person up to speed. If not, I'll also do it, and maybe we could come back and revisit it in the fall.
That's a fair statement. Thank you for that comment. Anybody else have any comments or interests in the treasurer position? And again, just to restate, it's because president, treasurer are the ones that can spend money, so it's important to have them. It's important to have them to give sewer slush fund.
I don't. Your call.
So, Jason, you sort of opened the door a titch here. You opened the door, and Justin, did you step away? Do you know that we're asking about people interested in treasurer spot? Are you interested?
I would consider having Jason mentor me in the treasurer position if that's needed for the summer. I mean,
that's you've got a very.
I'll do it. I'll do the treasurers. I'll do it.
Time to get guilted into that.
Everybody heard that.
So
and they don't have to mentor.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So having said that, so Justin has thrown his hat in. Anyone else? Diego? Okay, I know we're going over, but thank you for your patience, folks. So I'm going to throw the motion on the floor. Let's just get a vote from folks. I am going to vote this time. The 1's for yes, 2 for no. Justin is treasurer, please. All right, thank you. Congratulations, Justin. You get to be the bean counter. And we got a lot of beans. Okay, communication chair, because we're going to need to do a lot of communicating. So that's the other role. That was the role I filled. There is Facebook, there's email. I'm hoping for a little bit more activity because of all the new families that we're going to be receiving, welcoming. So anyone would like to throw their hat into the ring for communication chair or have questions about communication chair? And you can't tell because no one actually makes eye contact, but I am eye contacting Mandy at this point.
Jason's been like telling me. Yes, I will do it this summer, and I feel like, you and I can maybe craft some of that
Yeah,
together.
absolutely. I think this is a possibility for a good partnership.
Okay.
And I've got a skill set to help support you, and you've got a good skill set to help support me. So I think that would be a good thing.
Okay.
If you were
Yeah.
interested in communication chair, but certainly to be totally transparent to anyone else who's on this call still. Anyone else interested in communication chair? Michelle, would your kid like to be communication chair?
My kid would love to be communication chair. I'd say I have no interest in being communication chair, but if there is anything that needs to be designed, like postcards and stuff like that, I'm happy to make stuff.
Absolutely.
So my kid's got the leadership skills. I don't, but
no, I think it's great.
Paul, if you're talking, Paul, you're on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I just saw that. Sorry. So, seeing no other hats in the ring, I am putting it to the floor. And I'm putting my mic down finally. I'm putting it to the floor. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Mandy as communication chair, please. All right. Okay, so that carries. So there we go. Welcome, incoming PTO. You've already got 2 jobs to do, PTO, because the other PTO just gave them to you. Okay, I'm going to call it. That last item I'm not going to bother with, but is there any new business or anything else from the folks who've attended and sat here? Tana, you've sat here. You've been to all these meetings. Do you have anything you'd like to say to us? Oh, your mic's down. Your mic's down. You might have chosen the wrong mic. Maybe that's why. Okay, it was a technical glitch. The whole time you were actually talking to us, but it was a tech glitch that prevented us from hearing you. That's okay, but thank you for continuing to come out to these. Any new business?
Paul, I just want to say one thing. Like, we can't give the PTO the contacts for the incoming families, but we will include PTO contact information. We will be communicating with them this spring still, and we can encourage them to be in contact with you and to look for leadership positions and activity in the fall.
Yep.
And then whoever's around to do this in August for the open house can continue to do that then.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I anticipated that answer, Linda. And so for new PTO, we'll discuss this at a future date, but I do have some ideas for some other ways of doing some outreach that might be a little more effective than what we have been doing. One of which is having something of more of a physical presence in the school. I mean, clearly the school has a bunch of rooms now, Diego. We could slap the letters PTO on the door of one. But anyway, that's for a future meeting. I'm not going to take it up now. So this closes out 2020, 2021 for PTO, at least. We're still active, but thank you everybody for continuing to come out every month.
I did have one question. Speaking of outreach, and I think this is something that we were talking about like a couple of meetings ago. Are we doing postcards over the summer to new families, or is that something that we're able to do?
That's something that I'm hoping to negotiate with Diego regarding access to addresses. So we'll figure that out, and we'll certainly might end up being a piggyback idea like we have done in the past. But I think incoming PTO, we are going to take on something that allows us to do a mailer for sure. Yeah.
Cool. Well, count me in for making it.
Okay, thank you. All right, just last call for new business, new comments. What an awesome team. Thank you, Linda. I'm going to save the chat now. All right, so I'm going to call this meeting. We're 7 minutes over, but thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming out. We'll see you all later. And Diego, I'm seeing you tomorrow. And Diego and Brianna and Justin and some other folks are going to see you about this party. So yeah. All right. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Appreciate it.
Bye.